What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So I've been wanting to cover this item since the update came out. We got the Halikar Wraith. This thing used to be okay back in the day, but now with the new Galvanized mods, melee influence, and the like, we've got a very powerful glaive on the field. So we'll be going over the Halikar Wraith build today, and basically what you can expect from this thing, because yeah, it's unlike the glaive and like the Zorus and the Falcor, they have forced DOT procs. This is a forced impact proc. We're not going to let that hold us back too much because this thing can hit really, really hard. So let's get right into it. But before we do, make sure you're subbed to this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff in the right place for Warframe content. And yeah, everything in this video is intended. There's a lot of really ridiculous glitches going on right now that can give you some big power on certain items, but reminder, I don't cover bugs on this channel as far as, exploiting bugs, because that's not exactly what I'm doing here. So this is all intended though, so let's get into what we got. So the Halikar Wraith is the glaive I'm using on screen right now, and it is obtained from Baro Katir. So if you don't have this right now, you have to either buy it from another player or just wait until Baro eventually brings it. You don't need to drop everything and go get it. It's not that phenomenal, but it is a quite nice glaive compared to how it used to be before. So here we are in the sim here, and this is going to be with no Riven. We got the Halikar Wraith. Now, as I stated, it has a forced impact proc on explosion. We're going to make it where it's going to be doing a lot of elementals, because the melee influence arcane we're using today only spreads elemental procs. So here it is unmodded. So as you can see, there's no elementals here, but on the explosion of the heavy attack, there is built-in blast. So we could use this built-in blast for electric and blast melee influence AoE. It's really good too. So yeah, with the new Galvanized mods, this thing's already got pretty good base status chance. So new Galvanized Elementalist gives you increased status chance when you get a kill up to 120%. So a good chunk of extra status chance. We'll be proccing electric and blast a lot with this setup. Now, it's not a maximum damage setup, because the thing about this is that if you hover over your status chance, you'll see how likely you are to proc each type of elemental proc. So I can, and by the way, this is totally fine to do this. You can take off one of these mods for Prime Bane mod for whatever faction you're fighting, but you might look, our status chance went down, and also the likelihood that we proc electric has also massively gone down. So we went from it was 28% chance to proc electric to 16%. To proc electric, and that's going to also matter on the explosion as well on the heavy attack. So we look over here, a 21% chance to proc blast, and 19% chance to proc electric. That's not terrible, but also keep on to proc melee influence, which makes our damage even more AoE. We have to proc an electric proc in the first place. So to me, I prefer to have the two electric mods on here, but keep in mind, melee influence scales very nicely with Bane mods, so for maximum damage, definitely go for that. But yeah, the rest of the build is just going to be electric, and we don't even have to worry about blast because we have blast built in here already. With the mods on the build, we're more likely to proc electric than blast on the explosion. So, showing how that works in practice here. Keep in mind, I do have an Adarza Kavat equipped, so it's going to be a little more crit chance than usual. We summon in the enemies. Now, keep in mind, it's not going to look as crazy until I get a kill, because this is a Galvanized build, and Galvanized mods require kills to get those procs, or to get those increased stats. So once we get it ramped up here, now the death begins. With Galvanized Reflex, we're in a Perma 5x combo. With Galvanized Elementalist, we have a bunch of extra status chance. And with whatever the other Galvanized one is, we have increased crit damage too. Yeah, Galvanized Steel. So now that we've got it all stacked up, it's just a one-throw kill on this big group of enemies. As I say that, of course, it doesn't one-shot them. But yeah, there we go. Now that we have those things stacked up, it's very easy. You also might notice there's hardly any crits happening here. That is going to be a thing that is a potential downside of this weapon. It has very good status chance, but not the best crit. When it does crit, of course, you're going to get that big crit multiplier. But yeah, Galvanized Steel does have less crit than Umbral Steel, for that matter. But yeah, as you can see, it does not really matter too much. And you can actually do this exact same build on pretty much any glaive in the game. If you look at my Glaive Prime Galvanized build, it's very similar to this. So we can show the same thing with the Bane of the Grenier here for more damage. Keeping in mind, it will be less consistent on proccing melee influence due to our elemental weighting. I can actually throw on Nourish too to have some viral proc spreading. Let's just first show this without the with the Bane mod this time. So as you can see, a lot higher damage up front. But did we even proc? Yeah, we just proc melee influence. Okay, so we just proc melee influence. So now it will be more damage. But yeah, we'll see about that. Okay, so yeah, 1.2 million I think that was. Not too shabby. Let's throw on some buffs too. We'll throw on Nova's debuff and Nourish. And they're super, super dead. So yeah, this is all with no Riven, guys. So you don't need to have a Riven for this. And it works exactly the same on the glaive too. So if you do have a Riven for this, you can get things like overall status chance, melee damage, crit chance. This thing has low crit chance, like I said. So you can make that, maximize your crit chance with that if you prefer. And actually, you don't actually need prime pressure point if you have a Riven like mine, which has base melee damage. We can actually do the best of both worlds and throw on both the electric mods and my Riven. So it's going to be a lot more consistent with the electric procs and the blast. Actually, the blast is just built in, so who cares about that? It's not a forced blast proc, as I stated. It is a just built-in blast, so it's not going to be like every throw you get blast procs. But yeah, either way. As you might notice, I have not been talking about the forced impact proc at all, or the special passive the Halikar Wraith has. The Halikar Wraith can actually disarm enemies. Yep. Does that sound useful? I didn't think so. So, yeah, as far as, should you use this? Is this better than the Falcor, better than the Glaive, better than all this stuff? Technically, no, but the main thing here is that this thing used to be not even remotely worth considering, and now on the current patch, I've actually been using it. Now, why would you take this out besides the Falcor or the Glaive or the Serrata or whatever you're using instead? It's mainly because the Rivens are high stats. I mean, there is a 1.2 dispo here, so the Rivens are quite high stat with all those dots. But yeah, it's not like we're going to disarm enemies or any of this stuff. If you want to compare the stats to other Glaives, it does have some things that's higher in certain departments. So for example, the Glaive Prime, this thing has more base damage than the Glaive Prime, which is maybe matters to you. And that's pretty good. The Falcor, it's got a little bit less damage than the Falcor, but it's got better other stats than the Falcor. The Falcor only has 12% crit chance. This thing has 19. But keep in mind, the Falcor has no forced electric proc too, so it's going to be better in some ways as well. But comparing it to some other things, it's got almost double the damage of the Zorus, so that's pretty nice. The Serrata, it's got more damage than Serrata. So the base damage on this thing is pretty respectable. And the other stats are, usable tier. 19% crit chance ain't amazing, but we throw on the crit chance mods. And the status chance is what you really care about here. Just make sure your electric weighting is good to have all those electric procs to keep the melee influence going. Now, as far as maximizing this thing, you just pretty much treat it like a normal glaive. Things like viral procs, things like melee damage increases will help you a lot to increase the damage of these procs. But for most general gameplay, you're doing millions of damage already, so it doesn't even make that big of a difference. So yeah, you just basically throw on the glaive, or throw on the Halikar Wraith, and just throw it like a normal glaive. You're going to be getting melee influence, AoE, and it's just good to go. So yeah, quick one today, guys. The build is not super flexible, to be honest, because melee influence is relied on pretty heavily here. So keep that in mind, that if you want to do a non-melee influence build, you might want to just use a melee influence build, because melee influence is the meta on the current patch. So, either way, guys, see you next time. Hope you find it fun and helpful. Let's do one quick Riven and Bane mod throw here to see how it goes with all the stuff buffed up, because it is pretty nice. So we go ahead and use Nourish, we use Nova's debuff, throw on some orbs too, why not? Vigorous swap. And yeah, not too shabby. I mean, we didn't proc melee influence there. As I said, look, we didn't proc melee influence at all. I took the second electric mod off. Be careful about doing things like that. I'm telling you, the electric weighting is important on these things. And there we go. We finally procced it to make sure you're getting these AoE death attacks every single time, guys. So, hope you find it fun and helpful. I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Peace.